defined as House Bill 1176, it establishes a housing down payment assistance fund to help more Hoosier families afford a home. Further, it would keep hedge funds from being able to buy up all houses in a neighborhood. This in turn would increase the number of units that are available for Hoosier families, Hoosier individuals, to either purchase or to rent. The ability to have a house and call it your own is an integral part of the American dream. Home ownership is a stepping stone that allows an individual and their families to plant their roots and build their lives. Owning a home is about far more than having a roof over your head. It's about giving Hoosiers a sense of security and the ability to save up for upcoming milestones like sending your child to college, as well as for retirement. This bill will help cut more everyday Hoosiers into the American dream and will strengthen the middle class along the way. Representative Vanessa Summers has authored House Bill 1128. This will prohibit foreclosures on families or individuals' homes due to medical debt. As we have learned over the past few years due to COVID-19, is that a public health crisis has an impact on employment, economics, and housing. If an individual or family is struggling with illness or medical debt and it accrues, the last thing you need to worry about is losing your home while dealing with those issues. The bill is not only common sense, but also common decency for our fellow Hoosiers. Senator Andrea Hunley's bill, Senate Bill 243, would enhance tenant protections by requiring landlords to deliver handwritten intent to sell property 60 days before showing begins and require the buyer of a rental property to honor the rent lease between the previous owner and the tenant. In recent years, many Hoosiers have struggled with negligent out-of-state property owners, and the bill is an excellent way to ensure renters are kept in the loop on any potential sales. Representative Cherish Pryor's bill, House Bill 1112, is a revival of her previous bill to ban bias in home appraisals and loan approval. Too often, Black Hoosiers, Hoosiers of color, and other minorities throughout the state have had their homes undervalued or cannot receive fair loans because of their ethnicity or national origin. Owning a home is one of the best ways to build generational wealth, but that cannot happen if some Hoosiers are held back through these unfair and unjust practices. House Bill 1087, authored by Representative Renee Pack, edits the Indiana Fair Housing Statute to prohibit discrimination on the basis of a person's source of income, their military active duty status, or their veteran status. For decades, men and women who have bravely served our country have been promised a monthly housing allowance in return for their service to our country. Typically, this allowance comes in the form of vouchers, which currently Indiana landlords are permitted to deny housing to individuals if they're going to use these vouchers to pay for their housing. While we know historically that many veterans have not been afforded full benefits of the GI Bill, whether due to their race or other factors, today we in the IDLC are calling for Indiana to ensure that our veterans will not be denied housing due to vouchers which they earned while serving our country. Next, Representative Shackelford's House Bill 1195 would create the Right to Counsel Eviction Task Force to help provide counsel to individuals undergoing an eviction proceeding. Indianapolis has the 5th highest eviction filing rate nationwide, with 16 evictions filed per 100 rental households. In 2023, an eviction on someone's record can greatly create significant barriers to them and their family finding new housing, and more than half of evictions filed in Indiana are against Black renters. This bill would provide countless Hoosiers with advocates who can help them in their home, stay in their home, and provide them resources in terms of the eviction. Despite that, our current practices convey housing and tenant rights are not complex issues. As lawmakers, we have an obligation to ensure that our constituents and our Hoosiers have the ability to own a home, and those homes and livelihoods they provide should not be threatened by factors outside of an individual control. This year, we in IDLC are prioritizing fair housing to ensure every Hoosier can work towards a better future for themselves and for their family. And with that, we'd be happy to take questions.
Obviously, we had the Housing Task Force in 2022, which led to legislation in 2023, including the creation of the Housing Infrastructure Loan Fund. I haven't heard Republicans talking a lot about housing since they passed that bill, other than we just heard Representative Lehman on the floor yesterday or Monday saying, oh, well, we did the housing thing, that's gonna work now. Do you feel like Republicans have left housing behind as an issue they care about?
So one of the things we do, one of the things IBLC does is we meet with leadership. So we meet with the governor, we meet with the 4 leaders of the caucuses. Yesterday, we met with Speaker Houston, and he did talk about the need for doing some housing things. So it may not be getting as much attention because there's some other things grabbing more attention, but I would not say it's off the radar. I mean, we know that this is a problem that still exists here in Indiana, as well as other parts of the country.
When you say that Speaker Houston says there needs to be some housing things done, what exactly, can you give us some details on what exactly you meant by that?
Did you want to add?
No, I won't say that's what he said.
He didn't say anything. Did he give any specifics, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you, Representative Farley. That's it. If you want specifics on that, talk to the speaker. But in terms of support and in terms of, yes, these are bills that are necessary, making comments, asking questions, talking about, yes, that's a great idea, those are the type of feedback that we had from him. But obviously, if you want more specifics from Speaker Houston, you have to ask him about that.
Have you gotten any feedback on whether any bills will be hearings? What's been your discussions with the chairman and leadership on these issues? Do you think?
I'll start off if anybody wants to dive in with any specifics. You know, we're in the first days of session, so we've all been working on this, just like with every other bill. The other bills we file, we start having those conversations, actually sometimes even before session starts. So we don't always get commitments, but we will continue to work and push for them. We've shown, if you look at IBLC, we've shown success. I mean, look at the amount of bills that passed that were authored by IBLC members last year. And our focus last year being on closing the achievement gap. There's no reason to think that we won't also have success this year with getting legislation closing the gap. Anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, please.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Representative Pack, and I just wanted to mention that on House Bill 1087, we included this piece, this information in the Land Use Task Force that we worked on over the summer and fall. So this was included in our summary, in our findings, that there's a dire need to include in the fair housing statutes a provision that allows people to use vouchers, especially veterans, when they're searching for homes. And we also feel like it's another vessel to get some of our homeless veterans off the street. We have HBAF that's working really hard to get veterans off the street, working, getting the medical care that they need, perhaps even the drug and alcohol counseling that they need, and also the housing. So I'm feeling very encouraged.
Yeah, please,
And also, there's a bill that's gonna be heard in Ways and Means tomorrow that deals with housing and property taxes as well. And I've also had conversation with the chairman of Ways and Means about trying to continue to do something to help senior citizens stay in their home and property taxes that they're paying. So I think this still is something that is certainly on the radar, and hopefully we'll get something done, but not to help all regions, but then also to help seniors. Additionally, the House Democrats have proposed a $250 credit to all homeowners as well as a part of their agenda. So that is something that we have pushed as the House Democrats.
Representative Harris, on the loan, the down payment fund, how are you paying for that?
So there are fees that the hedge fund people, if they do not comply with what they're supposed to do, there are bills that they will be hit with, there will be fees, and those funds will go into a fund that will provide funding for people in terms of getting that.
Are you confident that would generate enough money to fund the fund?
Well, either way it goes, it's going to be a positive, because either they're doing what they're supposed to do, which allows for more housing to be available for individuals to purchase, rent, etc., or they're providing funding by not doing what they're supposed to do, which then means there'll be more money to help people out. So either way, it's a win.
Why the focus on just housing this session for you. In previous years, you've had much broader agendas that you've been talking about. What led to this decision and your discussion on that point?
Sure. It's good to have a focus, so we can get more attention, draw more eyeballs, ears, etc., to what's going on about a certain specific agenda item. And focusing on that gives us that where we can all work on getting some more things done. It was a success last year when we look at closing the achievement gap as our agenda, and so this will be something we will continue to work on. And it gives more people, meaning the entire caucus, the ability to push the rock up the hill in a similar topic. Sorry. Yeah, there's other things that, it's not as if every piece of legislation that all of us authored is about housing, it's just our focus for this session.
When it comes to the eviction task force, we've seen Marion County have these kind of little clinics where people can get their eviction sealed. Is that something that you're looking at, maybe creating statewide? I'm not aware if those happen anywhere else, but can you talk to me about what the task force will do or what the goal of it is?
Thank you for that question, and good morning, everyone. So I will tell you that the issue that we have here in Marion County is that some of our, I'm Andrea Hunley, that's who I am. State Senator for District 46, which encompasses the greater downtown Indianapolis area, where we have a lot of renters, whether they are in single-family homes, whether they are renting in multi-unit buildings. And so eviction is real. It's top of mind for me often. And the issue that we have here in our Marion County courts is that not even every court is using those best practices to curb evictions. I had the opportunities to spend an entire day out in eviction court with Judge Bacon, and she truly is a paragon. She is an excellent example for what it looks like to be supportive, to be firm, and to be fair. And she helps folks by ensuring that there are housing experts right there when you walk in the door to the court, so that you can have expert support in curbing those evictions. Folks get eviction counseling, and then they often have the opportunity to have a mediated conversation with that landlord. And most of the time, we're able to stave off evictions. And so that is the best practice we would love to see around the state. And I think that what would help for us to be able to broaden that is to really dig into what are those best practices, how are they working, what's the funding that it would take, because we also know that the grants that are out there dry up really quick, especially here in Marion County where we have such a large eviction issue. And so we would love to see this expanded. I think that it's definitely something that our housing task force needs to look into deeper. But I also think that right here in Marion County, we could look at, without legislation, expanding those best practices to the courts that we have here and being more streamlined and specific. Thank you.
Representative Pryor, I wanted to ask you about the right to counsel bill. As you explore that, we also know that Indiana, like many other states, has a growing and significant attorney shortage. Quite frankly, even if we got more people sort of the access to attorneys, are there, quite frankly, enough attorneys to help all of the people who need them?
So, are you asked for me?
Well, I thought the right to counsel one was yours. Am I wrong with that?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misread. I'm sorry. I misread that.
But if you want to ask me a question, another question, you can, but that's not.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Can I add something, which, going along with the lack of attorneys, and this is a little bit off topic, but since you brought up the fact that we need more attorneys here. One of the things I'm working on is just that. We had the Valparaiso Law School, as an example, Northwest Indiana. Valparaiso Law School went away years ago. That has had a huge impact. I know a lot of attorneys and lawyer friends that are in Northwest Indiana that are not, that were graduates of that. So I've been working on and have had conversation with our prosecutor, Bernie Carter. He would go to Valparaiso Law School and get a lot of people that he would hire and come out of there. That's a loss for him. Also had a meeting over the summer with Chief Justice Rush, and I need to do some follow-up on that, because she's also working on that initiative as well. So when you talk about our shortage of attorneys, it's not just, okay, I need someone to go to court with me to do this, do that, but we have other initiatives. Foster Success, Maggie Stevens, we even talked about that with the initiatives that they're doing in terms of the need for attorneys. Is we have a need for attorneys more than just those that go to court, but those that that help us do the things we need to do as individuals or as organizations or businesses. So putting in some effort in that as well. So you brought that up, so I wanted to point that out.
I do have a question for you, I'm sorry. About your bill about discriminatory appraisals. You carried that before, you brought it up in the housing task force, and I don't remember it being part of the recommendations as much as I think you wanted it to be. Why do you think that's not getting the traction you'd like to see in the General Assembly?
Quite frankly, I think that some people don't think that it's real. I think that oftentimes, situations have to happen to individuals in order for them to believe, that, certain things are actually happening. And I think also, we are, quite frankly, we're in a minority, 2 times over, and I just don't think that that the issue is something that the supermajority wants to deal with. And I think that's unfortunate because as we're trying to, uplift people and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to the American dream, unfortunately, when you have situations where people are getting appraisals where their homes are being undervalued, they're not getting the access. And I think it's, unfortunate that the legislature has not taken this issue as seriously as it should.
Are there any more questions? Okay, thank you all for coming out.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.